Simon and Garfunkel's Faking It on Billboard's Hot 100 September 16, 1967 at number 65, down from 35 the previous week. On Billboard's Hot 100, a moderate hit, summer 67. I'll get into the chart positions in just a minute. Sort of a self-deprecating song in some ways. Simon and Garfunkel, Paul Simon, almost kind of like talking to himself, reflecting on his life and his strengths and his weaknesses. And maybe he's been faking it, or has he been faking it? Sort of coming down on himself. But this is one of the most creative songs of the 60s. This is why this song here, this song is one of the gold standards of why the 60s was so great. Great rock and roll beat to start this record. Imaginative lyrics, introspective, yes, but still brilliant. Paul Simon, he was imagining what his life would be, what occupation he would pursue had he lived in the 19th century. In the 20th century, he was in a unique position as he saw himself as a singer and songwriter. But suppose he was born in, say, 1830, 1840, what occupation would he had pursued? And he thought he would pursue a job as a tailor in Central Europe, Austria, Hungary. I can't pronounce the word, Hungary. I knew I was going to trip up over that word. Now here's something really interesting though. Paul Simon's father had told him that his grandfather was once a tailor in Vienna. So that memory, perhaps buried subconsciously somewhere, fed right into this song, like a river into a lake or an ocean of creativity. Man, I sound awfully pompous tonight. But you can't help it. This song is just the lovely part of this record. The loveliest part of this record. In the middle of the record, I got the lyrics up. Bear with me, just bear with me. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Just bear with me. Here's the lyric. Quote, prior to this lifetime, I surely was a tailor. He sings with somewhat a melancholy voice. And then you hear the door open. And here comes this woman with this beautiful, absolutely lovely British accent. And she says, "Good morning, Mr. Leach. Have you had a busy day?" And that is that little visionette that helped made this song. Well, that woman, her name was Beverly Martin. She was a singer. She knew Paul Simon. You see, Paul Simon visited England. He lived in England for a while in the mid-60s, and that's when he met Beverly Martin. And a couple of years later, when they were working on their album, Paul Simon invited Beverly Martin to come to New York. And she did her thing. And not only that, Beverly Martin was friends with Donovan Leitch. And notice that she said Mr. Leitch. Donovan's last name was Leitch. Thus, Leitch was used in that record. My goodness, how lovely is that? What a beautiful voice. It's absolutely compelling. God, that British accent kills me. It's lovely. Well, I did a little research on Beverly Martin. She was a singer. She did a song that was written by Randy Newman called Happy New Year in 1966. And this was in England, and she released a version. After that, she came out with a version of Cat Stevens' I Love My Dog, and her version went to number 28 in England. Then she went into the folk scene. She learned how to play guitar, well, the folksy way. And by the way, Happy New Year, that song Happy New Year, guess who played on that record? Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones, who later became members of Led Zeppelin, but session musicians back in the mid-60s. But anyway, she went into the folk scene, and she did this thing with Paul Simon on the record, and she played at the Monterey Pop Festival. God, she had a killer voice. Beverly Martin. and Simon and Garfunkel's Faking It. The song peaked at number 23 on Billboard's Hot 100. Oh gosh, I just X'd it out. I apologize. Well, it was a hit. Summer '67, Faking It by Simon and Garfunkel.